This was supposed to be a single book. It did very, very well, and Disney came back to us and said, would you like to try a second one? And I brought up the shadow thing. And Dave said, Ridley, that's one sentence. And 680 pages later, we had Peter and the Shadow Thief. And then we decided we had to wrap it all up in a third book called Peter and the Secret of Rundoon. So we wrote a trilogy, and in fact, Disney made it as a box set in paper. And then we got approximately 8 billion emails from kids around the world saying, if you don't write a fourth book, we're going to break your knees with baseball bats.
Wow.
And we are camping on your front lawn until you get started. So we started a fourth book, really based just on fan, screams.
Well, broken kneecaps is a convincing argument.
Especially from a 10-year-old with an aluminum baseball bat.
Absolutely.
And, so we wrote Peter and the Sword of Mercy. And then Disney threw us into a car for our book tour that was wrapped like our jacket art. It was a very cool-looking car, like your local pizza car, except it was our jacket cover. And we were in there for a few weeks together, and we came up with an idea for a fifth book. So in our trilogy, we now have 5 books, which just proves we were never math majors.
Next in the Kingdom Keepers series, the book that we're featuring is Disney in Shadow, which is the 3rd book. And you told us it's about the 5 kids who are, they find themselves in the parks at night as part of this hologram.
Yeah, and they do battle with the Disney villains. The really fun part of this is that in order to do this, I explained to Disney that the way I write my crime novels is I do tons of research and that I would need full access to their theme parks. And they gave it to me, which, shocked me. But I really couldn't have done it without it. And so I've gotten to go now maybe a dozen times into their various parks at 5 in the morning and tour the Disney facilities when they're all shut down. And then the employees come in to start up an attraction, and I talk to them, and they walk me around it before it starts up. And then they start it up, and I watch all that, and then the people come on, and I watch. It's really just so fascinating and interesting. And then the fun part is I get to just put the kids into that. So in the book, the kids really just do what I've done in my research.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a ton of fun for me. So in Disney in Shadow, it takes place in Epcot and Disney Hollywood Studios. And I got to go into places like Soarin' and Mission Space and Spaceship Earth and Norway, France, England, all when they were closed, the land, and talk to the experts and come up with really, I hope, fun, clever, exciting adventures for these kids as they battle these horrible villains. Disney created wonderful villains,
yes,
and they just don't get much airtime. All the princes and princesses and frogs and all this stuff get a lot of airtime, but the villains sadly don't. So one of the fun things about the Kingdom Keepers is the villains get a lot more ink.
Which is pretty. I mean, the villains are what are so interesting. All that torture and
yeah, murder and mayhem. So the kids are facing villains like Maleficent, who can turn herself into a million different things, can throw fireballs at you. She's a very scary and powerful villain in the Disney lore.
See, and I didn't know all of that. I didn't know she had all that ability.
She's a fairy, not a witch. She can do all sorts of evil things. She can transfigure herself, turning herself into different animals. She cruises around with this raven. She's really kind of a terror, and I have a blast with her little green-skinned self.
And I was watching your video on I don't know if it was on this book or on the series, but you said you had discovered when you were at one of the attractions doing this research and this, torturous time you had to spend at the Disney attractions and parks, you discovered an old book that had some sort of guidelines or something about one of the attractions?
Yes, well, they let me into Soarin', which is one of my favorite rides in Epcot. And in Soarin', you're in a hand glider going across California.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just a fabulous ride. And so I got to go in there again at 5 in the morning, and I rode it several times by myself, and then they stopped the ride. And I said, can I go into the projection room? And they said, we're supposed to let you do whatever you want to do. So I went through these catwalks and stuff and got up to the projection booth. And it's a super IMAX projection booth. So you have to wear shoe covers and a hair cover, and they blow all this dust off you because it's a dust-free environment. And I got in there, and in fact, the technology is amazing when you see a super IMAX. It's not like no other projector you've ever seen, and at least that I'd ever seen. And in the corner, I found a very big manual, like a diary, a very big diary, and I actually took a photo of it with my little writer's notebook. I'm sure as a writer, you also carry a notebook with you everywhere. And I put it there really for scale so I could remember how big it was. I mean, it was very big. It was very big. And I said, what the heck is this thing? And they went, oh, is that thing still over there? At which point my author chops started to drool. And they said, a few years ago, we started computerizing all the maintenance problems on our rides. But before that, we had to keep maintenance journals of all the problems that we'd encountered on our rides. And that's what that is. We didn't even know it was still over there. And I said, are you telling me that everything that went wrong with Soarin' in a given time frame, 3 or 4 years, is in this book? And they said, yeah. And I said, can I look at that? And they said, yeah. And in my novels, it's the overtakers, the villains who want to take over the parks, who are always causing problems on rides. So for me, this was a diary of what the overtakers had been up to. And it was fascinating for me that way. And in fact, I ended up using it in a big way in the book because it was so fascinating.
Now, did you get to take it with you and keep it for a while?
I got to read it and take notes there. But I got to take sort of, furious notes. You can see that I'm basically, just a total nutcase. I apologize.
No. Well, it makes for great books. So what's next? So this has just come out, and you also have the Steel Trap series.
I do. I love the Steel Trap series. That's about a boy with a photographic memory who gets himself into all sorts of trouble. The last one, he was in a boarding school. It's called Steel Trap Academy. And, it's just one of my favorite things to write. But, yes, I have this Kingdom Keepers coming out. I'm just finishing another one that will come out next April. And on the adult side, I have a book called In Harm's Way that comes out in August.
So do you sleep?
Not much.
Not much. Yeah.
They don't let me out of this room very much. They sort of slide power bars under the door.
They'd have to keep up that pace. Well, that's amazing. That's awesome. And congratulations on all of your books and success. And I can't wait to start the Kingdom Keeper series myself because I think it sounds wonderful.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited about Books on the House.
Thank you.
Be seeing you back here again.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ridley.
Thank you.